So it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of WRI India to the launch event of the Energy Access Explorer platform for the state of Nagaland. I am Abdul Khalid from the WRI India Energy team, and I will be taking you through the agenda of the day. At the outset, I'd like to inform you that today's event is a hybrid event, as many of our guests are joining us online for this event. This event will be covered by several news outlets, and this will be a recorded event, and the video will be uploaded to our website and our social media pages. I would also kindly request everyone to put their phones on silent mode during the event. I would like to request our honorable guests to join us on stage so that we could felicitate them. So please, come with us. Yes, sir.
In line with India's national determined contributions or its climate change commitments, the northeastern states are going to play a non-trivial role in contributing to the ambitious 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel target set by the Government of India. The potential for renewables is significant, but realizing this is not without challenges. Alongside climate change and clean energy targets, there is also the need to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We know that almost 125 of the 169 targets that are SDG targets require some form of energy, whether we are talking about access to drinking water, sanitation, or providing safety, or indeed achieving health or education outcomes. As we all know, India has made significant progress in achieving near universal household electrification through targeted interventions like the Saubhagya electrification scheme, which has resulted in close to 100% household electrification. However, there are still some gaps, specifically on issues of reliability in supply, and importantly, the electrification of social infrastructure like health facilities, schools, and rural livelihoods. We saw this during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the lack of reliable electricity for health facilities significantly impacted our ability to provide urgent medical services like vaccines, vaccine storage, oxygen concentrators, and other critical medical equipment.
I'm happy to launch the Energy Access Explorer by WRI India and dedicate this to the people of Nagaland. There you go. Your role, your contribution, and your participation in our collective quest to achieve sustainable development, sustainable progress is well appreciated. And I must say, it is your role, your contribution, and your participation in the nation building process. I also am looking forward to more partnerships, to more collaborations with WRI. I have already in these last few days discovered that you have a fantastic team of professionals and experts, and you are doing wonderful work, not just here in India, but across the globe. I had a chance to study some of the reports that you're putting up on your portals, and I am hopeful that this type of research, this type of studies, and this type of platforms will reach our people here. The Northeast needs to come to the front and center of the national narrative, and we need players like you to play a contributory role. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India will not develop if Northeast is not developed. Today, you and I understand the dynamics of where we are placed, the geopolitics of the Northeast, the geopolitics of India in this region. The Northeast and Nagaland is in the heart of India's plan, the subcontinent's plan to reach the ASEAN region. The Trans-Asian Highway cuts through the heart of 3 to 4 districts of Nagaland, other states of the Northeast, and enters this ASEAN region. 10 countries of the ASEAN and the Far East beyond. The fastest growing economy in the world as a collective group of nations, life expectancy of more than 70 years, the biggest spending market, and over and above that, below us, Bangladesh, South Asia's fastest growing economy.
This work would not be possible without the continuous support which we have received in the state from all of you as well as from the number of other key data providers and partners. We cannot overemphasize the importance of energy access for socio-economic development and vice versa. Energy is required for everything in our life, from storing vaccines to electrifying schools. So energy is very, very important. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So integrated energy is important to match the supply with the growing demand. It is in the most cost-effective manner. If we are to move from centralized and expensive energy carriers towards fluctuating, decentralized and cost-effective renewable energy production, we need to understand the energy demand. And to effectively understand this, we need analytical tools that capture the key parameters of energy supply and demand and other parameters which are geospatial in nature, such as the what is the elevation, how are the road networks coming up. Next slide, please. So the gaps we identified in the existing ecosystem of the energy services and the geospatial tools and platform. And we did a multi-year stakeholder consultation to understand what is the key requirement coming up. We started conceptualizing the platform called Energy Access Explorer. And there were 3 key parameters we thought are important to have a platform. The first one was to treat demand and supply as equal. Traditionally, the energy systems are supply driven, and it is also very, very important to put in the demand perspective. Otherwise, the energy solutions will not be viable for the utilities as well as the consumers.
From my end, I am always in favor of tools that enable transparency and dissemination of information. So in that sense, the EAE that has been the portal that has been launched today, I hope that end user departments in the government of Nagaland and also individuals will actively use this portal to enable their planning, coming from a department that is not a producer of energy but is an end user of energy. I can say that most of our development plans are hampered by the lack of or the difficulties involved in 3 sectors, that is logistics. We also talk about the difficulties in terms of security because of the prevailing situations. But something that flies under the radar all the time is the lack of energy or the lack of access to energy. So as a department, we have faced problems in enabling our entrepreneurs to have access to uninterrupted energy. Sometimes a lot of our programs and a lot of our infrastructure fail because of lack of electricity. We have also started exploring methods of incorporating and enhancing and augmenting available electricity through solar energy usages. And I hope that we will be able to progress in these efforts through this portal, and also because now we see that there is a need for aggregating our efforts, not just for the Department of Industry, but for also for other departments. We see the need that it is better to use common facilities available. It is better to aggregate our efforts in certain pockets where resources like logistics and energy are more readily available.
In our state, our requirement in the peak demand is something around 200 megawatt, whereas our generation is only about 20 megawatt. So to fill up the gap, we are trying to bring renewable energy sources in the form of wind energy, solar energy, or any other kind of non-conventional energy sources. Of course, many investors from the country, outside the country, they are willing to come to invest in the generation of renewable energy sources. Of course, this portal and the platform will help us to identify the potential areas where we can go for right kind of energy generation in the state. Of course, there are some areas in the foothill sector we can go for solar energy. In the hilly areas, during the demonstration, they have demonstrated to us which are the areas we can go for wind energy, where we can exploit maximum energy sources through wind, through solar. Of course, if you produce, we need, our peak demand is around 200 megawatt. Through hydro also, our joint director is there. Through hydro, we have a minimum potential we can produce is around 2000 megawatt, small hydro plants. If we exploit our small hydro plants, we can easily produce minimum 200 megawatt immediately. So that will be able to meet our peak demand. In addition to that, if we produce more power generations, we will be able to give free power supply to the industries, free power supply to the farmers.